You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Davis versus Cole.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Davis, you say that after accepting your daughter, Autumn, Mr. Cole abruptly ended your relationship, moved out of your home, and is now denying her. You say Mr. Cole is the only man who could be Autumn's father, and you intend to prove paternity today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cole, you admit to initially accepting Autumn as yours and even signing her birth certificate, but now claim that Ms. Davis is untrustworthy and sneaky. You say there are too many facts that don't add up and there is no way you are her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Davis, how does it feel knowing Mr. Cole is denying your daughter?
I feel hurt, angry, disappointed how he all of a sudden not claiming my daughter. He is the only man that I've been with since February.
So, Mr. Cole, you're not claiming the baby? You don't think it's yours?
Yes, I claim the baby. I still take care of the baby. And
You do?
yes. Anything she asks for, I do for the baby.
But you deny that you are her biological father.
I'm just questioning right now because ever since I met her, she's been lying to me about stuff. You know, people been texting her, random people been walking up to me, asking me stuff about her. And I just came here to get the truth and move on.
So you have sincere doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Davis, tell me about the nature of your relationship before you got pregnant.
Yes, I had met Mr. Cole at a basketball game, a homecoming game, and we had Google eyes with each other. We had exchanged numbers, and we had chill a couple times.
So you continue this relationship, and at some point you find out you're pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. After me and Adrian have sex a couple times in February, I have found out I was pregnant March 21st. I was 4 weeks pregnant.
All right, I want to understand this.
And
You submitted a calendar to the court
yes, I also have a calendar.
that outlined your sexual relationship with Mr. Cole. On this calendar, in yellow, it indicates when you were intimate with Mr. Cole, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you started having sex with him here, and then on the 21st, you find out you're 4 weeks pregnant. And he was the only man you were with during that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cole, when Ms. Davis told you she was pregnant, did you question paternity then?
Not when she told me
You
through the
didn't?
text. I went to school like a week later and someone walked up to me. She wasn't even pregnant that long. And people were walking up to me saying that the baby might not be mine, you know.
Oh.
And then after a guy wrote her in her messages and was mad that she was pregnant. He wrote her right after she told me she was pregnant.
This text had come through where this man was mad because she didn't tell him and it could be his baby.
Yes.
But Ms. Davis, now you submitted a calendar to the court that says Mr. Cole was the only man you were intimate with in February and in March.
Yes, he was the only person I was intimate in February and March. My ex-boyfriend, I had stopped intimate with him in January. It was the beginning of January.
All right, so right around here, that's when you were having sex with,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
how long?
It was just a one time in January.
So that could not be the biological father.
Correct.
Because that's too far from the 4-week conception date.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Cole, you then start getting people coming up to you saying this isn't your baby.
Yes, ma'am. And I was just start asking her questions about the guy. She didn't give me any credible answers that I could believe. So I was really having doubts, and I wanted to go get a DNA test myself, but I couldn't really get one.
You couldn't get the DNA test?
They wouldn't let me because I had signed the birth certificate.
Okay, so that's what I want to get to. So, Ms. Davis, once you tell Mr. Cole you're pregnant, initially he accepts it.
Yes.
So you all are going through the process of having a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he's present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you have the baby. You're at the hospital. You came to the hospital, Mr. Cole?
I was there the whole time.
You were?
Mm-hmm.
And you just said in your testimony you signed the birth certificate.
Yes, I didn't initially sign it at the hospital because I told her after we had the baby that I wanted a DNA test. And she at the hospital and she got mad. So I fell asleep in the hospital. When they came for the birth certificate to sign it, I was asleep. She didn't wake me up.
I have reasons why I did not wake him up to sign the birth certificate. So after I had Adam, a couple hours later, he was asleep, and I went through his phone. And then, like, all his friends was telling him, congratulations on your baby girl on Adam Cole. And I seen him put, no, her name is Adam Davis until we get a DNA test. And I got in my feelings and got mad. And I took it upon myself to didn't wake him up, and I didn't let him sign the birth certificate.
Why wouldn't you wake him up even if you were mad at him? Because this wasn't really about him at that time.
Right.
It was about your daughter having her birth certificate signed.
You're right.
If she believed 100% that I was the father right then and there, I think she would have woke me up and had me sign it.
Actual cases.
Her car had come through and slammed me up against the toolbox.
There was a torpedo coming at my face.
Personal injury court cases everyone's going to be talking about.
So this is a copy of the birth certificate here.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Cole, at some point, your name got on it.
Yeah, like 2 months after she was born. Because my family had got in my head and she looks just like you, that's your twin.
And you accepted Autumn as yours, or you still had doubts?
I accepted her as mine.
You did?
Yes.
Because your family had convinced you.
Yes, ma'am. But then, like 2 years, she was about 2, she uploads a picture on one of her social medias. The same guy who wrote her when she first got pregnant writes her again and says, your daughter looks like my kids.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor. I did that because, like he said, people was coming up to him asking him, was Adam his? And I just did a split image of those three and was asking the same people, who does Adam look like more? Because I 100% sure that Adrian is the father of Adams. And I was getting other people's opinions and everything, and they all said that Adrian's look like Adam.
But what are you taking a poll for as it relates to paternity? I mean, where would you get in your mind that you're going to split screen your daughter's face with 2 different guys and send it out to take a poll?
That's what I said.
I was just mad and angry.
Who were you mad at?
I was mad at him because he was going around also and was telling people, I have doubts that Adam was mine, because people also was come to me and tell me that Adrian's not.
I was going around trying to get a DNA test.
But he had signed the birth certificate at this point, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So he was legally Autumn's father.
Yeah.
And after that, you still split screened her with the other guy and Mr. Cole and was blasted it out to people saying, what do you think?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, but I didn't.
Random people walking up to me asking me, you don't claim you're a baby, whoop-de-wop. And I'm like, people that I don't even associate with.
What I want to understand is, why in the world then, when you decide you're gonna create an email blasted poll about the paternity of your daughter, would you add this other guy's face on it if there's absolutely no other possibility they could be the father?
I was just mad and just in my feelings. You're right, I should never did that.
I cannot understand the logic of finally getting a man to believe that it is his biological child, having him sign the birth certificate, and then still creating disruptive situations that destroy his trust in you and his belief that he is the biological father because you mad. I don't understand that logic. You ever heard the saying, don't start nothing, won't be nothing?
Yes, Your Honor.
You started something. We have a witness, Jerome. Can you please bring the witness into the courtroom?
Sure.
Miss Ashley Davis. Ms. Davis's sister is here to testify today.
Go ahead and stand up next to your sister.
Hello, Ms. Davis. Thank you for joining us. You are Ms. Davis, Amber's twin sister. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you're here to testify as to what you know about the relationship between Ms. Davis, your sister, and Mr. Cole.
Yes.
You knew about this relationship.
Yes.
What do you know about the timeline of intimacy as it relates to Autumn's paternity?
Let me just say, Your Honor, that Mr. Cole is a great father to baby Autumn. He's very active in her life. However, my sister did admit to me that she had sex with another guy 2 days before she had sex with Adrian. But that was just that one time, and Your Honor, and she been having sex with Adrian ever since February and in March, and he's just been there. So I'm 100% sure that Adrian's the father.
So wait, you're saying that your sister admitted to you that she had sex with another guy 2 days before she was intimate with Mr. Cole?
Yes.
No.
And you're certain she said 2 days?
Yes.
No, I did not tell her 2 days. I had sex with the other guy in the beginning of January. I didn't tell her.
That's 2 different statements. Beginning of January doesn't sound nothing like 2 days.
But I didn't tell her that I had sex with him 2 days before I had sex with Adrian.
Well, surely your sister wouldn't just make this up. She's called into court today to tell the truth.
But I didn't tell her that.
I remember her saying 2 days before she had sex with Adrian.
So if that's the case, the 2 days before you started having sex with Mr. Cole would have been around February the 11th, and that would be the other guy. Why would a question concerning paternity or a conversation concerning paternity even be relevant or of issue where you would be having this conversation with your twin sister if there was absolutely no other guy in the picture ever besides Mr. Cole?
She knew about the other guy in January after I told her, but I did not tell her that I had sex 2 days before I had sex with Adrian. I didn't tell her that, but she also knew about the other guy before Adrian.
And you specifically remember it, Ms. Davis?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
So now Autumn is 3 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I sit in this chair because I try to be a voice for the voiceless, for the children that can't speak for themselves. They can't. She basically knows Mr. Cole to be her father. Autumn does, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the man she knows. She doesn't know anybody else.
Yes, Your Honor.
She calls him daddy.
Yes, Your Honor.
But to this day, Mr. Cole, you don't know if you are her biological father.
No, ma'am.
You are the legal father of Autumn, meaning whether you are deemed to be the biological father or not, under the law, you are her father and you're responsible for child support. You understand that? And that's not to say that you are not her biological father, because what I don't know. Because like I said, Ms. Davis, you done too many things since you was mad, and then your own sister says you had sex with somebody else 2 days before. I don't know why your sister, your twin sister, would get up in this courtroom and just make up a fabrication.
I don't know why she'd do that either.
That's what you told me.
I did not tell you that.
Okay.
And Mr. Cole, let me be clear. Are you hoping you are Autumn's biological father? Do you have a bond and a love for this baby where you want to be her biological father?
Yeah, I do want to be her biological father because I didn't grow up with my daddy.
Well, the stakes are high because this baby's at an age where she's going to know the difference. If he's not her biological father and decides not to be in her life, what are we going to do? I mean, he could be responsible for the child support but not be physically present, which is as damaging, if not more, to the child. The child support is one thing, but the spiritual and the emotional support means far greater to a child 3 years old. I think we should get the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Davis versus Cole, if you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. When it comes to 3-year-old Autumn Cole, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Cole, you are not the father. Ms. Davis, would you like to finally just lay it on the line and tell the truth?
It hurts. It's embarrassing. I thought he was the father.
This is one of these defining moments in your life, right?
Right.
From this moment forward, you can learn that a lie ain't nothing but the long way to the truth. So we're here now. And you have to make a decision going forward as you begin to parent this young girl. How are you going to move in truth? Do you know who her biological father is? The truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it is the guy that used to send the messages that Mr. Cole would say, who is this guy saying she could be mine?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Cole, you've been right all along. And you knew that in that hospital. Have you learned a lesson? Because now you're going to have to go back to your home state and get your name off that birth certificate. I see the tears. You love your daughter, right? But you do understand that you're still on her birth certificate, so you still are her legal father. Can you tell the court how you're feeling in this moment?
I'm hurt.
This is difficult because I can see that this baby is truly loved, but there has to be decisions made sooner rather than later. So I want to help you all figure out how to maneuver through this. This is a very difficult life situation and legal situation. So I want to send you off to talk to Dr. Jeff now. Oh, honey, you about to make me cry. Your hurt is just, this is not what you wanted to hear, I know. And I'm so sorry that I couldn't give you the answer you wanted today. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.